She fell from the stars into my arms, said my love was her only hope. Night had fallen over the small mining colony of Arden 9. The air was cold and dry, carrying the metallic scent of machinery and the faint smell of dust that clung to the miners' boots. Most of the colony slept, tucked away in their small, cramped quarters, leaving only the hum of generators and the distant creaking of old structures to break the silence. Kai Noren, a human engineer in his mid-30s, was wide awake. He had always preferred the quiet of night for his work. The dim glow of his workshop, lights reflected off the scattered tools and half-built devices, casting long shadows across the walls. His hands were smeared with oil and dirt, evidence of the long hours he spent repairing machines and keeping the colony running. Outside, the sky stretched endlessly, dark and clear, dotted with countless stars. Kai often found himself staring at them, wondering about the worlds beyond. Life on Arden 9 was tough, but he had grown used to it. A quiet, solitary life suited him until tonight. A sudden streak of light cut across the sky. It was brighter than any meteor Kai had ever seen, moving faster than anything natural. His heart skipped a beat. The streak changed direction abruptly, plummeting toward the colony at impossible speed. Then came the impact. A distant crash shook the ground, sending dust and small rocks into the air. Alarms went off in nearby buildings, and the few miners still awake ran toward the noise. Kai, however, grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the source, curiosity and instinct driving him forward. He arrived at a crater near the edge of the colony. The smell of burning metal and ozone filled the air. Kai's eyes widened as he saw the figure lying in the middle of the crater. She was small, no taller than a child, but her presence was unlike anything he had ever encountered. Her hair shimmered like liquid silver, her skin glowed faintly in the darkness, and delicate wings, folded and trembling, protruded from her back. Her clothes, strange and otherworldly, were torn and smoldering. Kai froze for a moment. His mind raced. Was this some alien life form, a spy, a weapon? But then he saw her eyes, large, luminous, and filled with fear. They locked onto his, and she whispered, almost too softly to hear, "Please, my love, you are my only hope." The words struck Kai like a thunderclap. He had no idea what she meant, but the fear and desperation in her voice made his instincts kick in. Without thinking, he ran to her side. "She's hurt," he muttered, kneeling beside her. Her small body trembled and she struggled to speak. Her language was strange, but some words were clear: love, hope, danger. Kai gently lifted her into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, almost ethereal. As he carried her back toward his workshop, he noticed small wounds glowing faintly along her skin, as if her body itself was injured in ways humans could barely understand. Back in his workshop, Kai laid her on a workbench and began examining her. He had seen injured miners and animals before, but nothing like this. Her body radiated a soft warmth, and the faint glow of her skin pulsed with her heartbeat. "Don't worry," Kai said softly. "I'll keep you safe." She looked up at him, her eyes shining with gratitude. Then faintly she repeated, "Hope, only you." Kai frowned. He didn't understand, but he nodded anyway. Somehow he knew she needed him. Somehow he felt responsible for her. He worked quickly, tearing strips of cloth to bandage her wounds and using antiseptic to prevent infection. Her wings twitched nervously, as if responding to his touch. Every so often her body would flare with a strange light, and Kai instinctively backed away, shielding his eyes. What are you?" he whispered, more to himself than to her. She looked at him, fear and trust mingling in her gaze. Then with effort she pointed to the sky and made a gesture, tracing a circle with her hand before pointing at him again. Kai interpreted it as best as he could. "You fell from the sky, and you want me to help you." She nodded faintly, her body trembling. Then she closed her eyes, letting out a soft sigh, as if the effort of communicating had exhausted her. Kai realized he needed to act quickly. The colony was small and people were curious, too curious. If anyone found her, they might panic or worse. He carried her to a hidden room beneath his workshop, one he had used for storing sensitive equipment. The door was heavy and he barricaded it with old crates. Then he returned to her side, sitting on a stool and watching her carefully. Minutes passed. Her breathing steadied and the glow from her body dimmed to a soft, steady light. Kai felt a strange connection forming. He had saved many lives before, but never like this. She was alien, yes, but vulnerable, and something about her trust in him was overwhelming. As he sat there, he heard a faint noise outside. The wind, perhaps, or maybe someone approaching. He tensed, ready to defend her if necessary. But the night remained silent, save for the faint hum of machinery and her soft breathing. Kai decided to try communicating again. "I'm Kai," he said gently. "You can rest here, you're safe with me." Her eyes opened slowly, meeting his gaze. She tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. "Kai, hope," Kai nodded. "I understand you need hope, and I'll do what I can." For hours he stayed by her side, watching over her. The workshop, once a place of machines and tools, felt alive in a new way. There was a presence here, something magical, something beyond human understanding. Finally, exhaustion claimed him and he leaned back, resting his head against the wall. But sleep was light, always broken by the memory of her words. "My love, only you." The next morning, Kai woke to a faint glow in the room. The alien girl was sitting up, her wings stretching slightly, as if testing her strength. Her eyes met his, filled with a mix of fear and determination. Kai realized that she was not just injured, she was extraordinary. Something about her defied the natural order. He had no idea what dangers they might face, but he knew one thing: he could not leave her alone. Not now, not ever. She spoke again, clearer this time, her voice melodic, almost musical. "Kai, danger follow." Kai's heart skipped a beat. "Danger who? Where?" She pointed toward the horizon, her glowing fingers tracing the shape of a ship or craft in the sky. Then she fell back, exhausted, letting out a soft sigh. Kai understood immediately. She was being hunted. Whatever world she came from, enemies had followed her here. And now they would come for her again. Without hesitation, he began preparing. Supplies, food, tools, weapons, anything that might help them survive. He would not let her fall into the wrong hands. Not after everything she had endured. As night fell again, Kai stood at the edge of the colony, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, her people might be gone, her enemies waiting. But here, in this quiet human settlement, he made a promise to himself and to her. "I don't know what you are," he whispered into the night, "but I'll protect you, whatever it takes." The alien girl's soft glow pulsed in response, as if acknowledging his words. Her small hand reached for his, and he took it gently, feeling the faint warmth of her skin. For the first time, Kai realized something extraordinary. Humans were not just survivors, they were protectors. And tonight, that protection would be put to the test. A faint rumble in the distance made him tense. Someone was coming. He did not know who or what, but he would face it, together with her. The stars above shone brightly, indifferent and eternal. But below, in the quiet of the human colony, a bond was forming, a bond that would change both their lives forever. Kai tightened his grip on her hand and whispered again, "We face this together, no matter what." And for the first time, the alien girl smiled, her eyes shining with hope. The night was far from over, but for the first time since she fell from the stars, she felt safe. And Kai knew in his heart that this was only the beginning. The morning light seeped through the cracks in the walls of Kai's hidden workshop, painting the room with a soft gold. The alien girl lay on the cot he had improvised for her, still recovering from the fall. Her glow had dimmed to a gentle pulse, and her wings rested against her back, fragile and trembling. Kai watched her carefully, noting every subtle movement. He had spent the previous night thinking about her words. "My love, only you hope." He didn't understand everything, but one thing was clear: she trusted him, and he would not betray that trust. Kai moved quietly, trying not to disturb her. He poured himself a cup of synthetic coffee and sat at a corner table, watching her breathe. It was strange, he realized, how human concern could stretch across worlds. This small alien creature who had fallen from the stars depended on him. Hours passed. The girl finally stirred, blinking against the morning light. Her eyes met his and she smiled faintly. It was not a smile of happiness. It was cautious, fragile, like a bird testing its wings. Kai approached slowly. "Morning," he said softly. "Did you sleep well?" She tilted her head, her silver hair catching the light. Then, in broken but deliberate words, she spoke. "Kai's safe." "Yes," he replied. "You're safe. For now, no one can get to you." She nodded as if that was enough for the moment. Then she attempted another phrase. "Danger coming." Kai stiffened. He had known she was being hunted, but hearing it again made the threat feel real. "I know. That's why we have to stay careful. We can't let anyone find you." Her eyes widened and she reached out for his hand. The glow from her skin intensified, and Kai felt warmth spread through his fingers. He did not fully understand it, but he knew it was a sign of trust. Over the next few days, Kai tried to communicate with her. It was not easy. She spoke in a language he did not know, using words that sounded like music, filled with tones humans could barely reproduce. But she also drew symbols in the dust, sketched strange creatures and spaceships, and made gestures with her hands. Slowly, he began to understand small things. Her world had been destroyed, her people were gone, and enemies had pursued her across the galaxy. Kai also noticed strange abilities she possessed. Small things at first, objects rolling toward her hands, lights flickering when she was scared or excited. One evening, when she was frightened by a loud noise outside, her wings suddenly flared with light and the entire workshop shimmered. He had to cover his eyes. What are you?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "You're not human, that's certain. But how?" She looked at him, fear and trust in her glowing eyes. She touched her chest, then pointed at him. Finally, she whispered in her musical tone, and he caught two words. "Hope human." Kai frowned. "I don't know what that means, but I'll protect you. That's all I know." She nodded, her glow softening. Somehow he could tell she believed him, but danger was never far away. One night, as Kai checked the perimeter of the hidden workshop, a faint hum reached his ears. Not the wind, not any normal machinery, something else. He froze. The girl, sensing it too, fluttered her wings nervously. Kai grabbed a flashlight and peered into the darkness beyond the walls. There, barely visible against the blackness, were two figures moving with silent precision. They were not human. Their shapes were strange, armored, almost robotic, with faint lights blinking across their forms. They were searching. Kai's mind raced. If they found her, he didn't want to think about what would happen. He dragged her back into the hidden room and barricaded the door with more crates. The alien girl clung to him, her tiny hands gripping his arms. "They're coming," she whispered. "We must go." Kai took a deep breath. "Yes, we'll leave tonight. We'll get somewhere safe." She tilted her head, trying to smile, and touched his chest lightly. Then she pointed to the sketches she had drawn, a ship, broken and damaged, barely capable of flight. Kai understood immediately. They needed a ship to escape. The following hours were a blur of preparation. Kai scavenged old tools, repaired what he could, and improvised parts for the ancient shuttle he had stored away. The alien girl helped as best she could, pointing out missing components and guiding him with gestures that somehow made sense. Kai was amazed. She understood technology in ways humans never could, intuitively, almost instinctively. As night fell again, the stars above looked different to Kai. They were not distant dots anymore. They were reminders of the danger hunting her across the galaxy. And he realized that whatever lay ahead, he could not do it alone. They climbed into the shuttle, small but functional. Kai adjusted the controls, running last-minute diagnostics. The alien girl hovered nearby, her glow faint but steady. She seemed calm now, trusting him completely. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside. The pursuers had found something, a decoy he had set up to divert attention, but they were close. Kai's heart pounded. He knew that once they left the atmosphere, they would have only minutes before the hunters tracked them through space. "Ready?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The girl nodded, her small hand reaching for his. The warmth of her touch filled him with determination. "Yes," she whispered. Kai activated the shuttle. The engines hummed, lights flickering across the control panels. He took a deep breath, checking one last time. The pursuers were moving toward the colony, but he had set traps and alarms to delay them. Every second counted. With a roar, the shuttle lifted off. Dust and debris swirled beneath them as they rose into the sky. The girl's wings fluttered instinctively, shimmering in the dim light of the cockpit. Kai marveled at her courage. Even in the face of unknown dangers, she trusted him completely. They broke through the atmosphere, entering the black expanse of space. Stars stretched endlessly, distant and cold, but to Kai, they felt alive with possibilities. The alien girl looked out the window, her eyes reflecting the vastness of the cosmos. She whispered something and he caught one word clearly. "Home." Kai turned to her. "Home, you want to go home?" She shook her head. "Gone, destroyed, safe, only hope you." Kai swallowed. He had known humans were resilient, courageous, inventive. But here, in this small shuttle, facing enemies far stronger and more advanced, he realized something more. Humans were capable of love, protection, and hope in ways no machine or alien tech could match. The pursuit began almost immediately. From distant points of light, small ships streaked toward them, faster and more advanced than anything Kai had seen. He pushed the shuttle to its limits, weaving through asteroids and debris. The alien girl guided him with instinctive gestures, pointing out safe paths and warning him of dangers he could not detect. Kai's hands moved with precision, repairing minor malfunctions mid-flight, improvising solutions to problems that would have stopped others. The alien girl's eyes glowed brighter with every successful maneuver. He felt pride but also fear. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and they could be destroyed. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the hum of the engines and the occasional warning beep. The alien girl finally spoke, her voice melodic and steady. "Kai's strong human hope." Kai's chest tightened. Her words were simple, but the meaning was clear. To her, he represented survival, safety, and something she could not find anywhere else. He realized then that humans were not just survivors, they were beacons. Even in the cold, infinite darkness of space, human ingenuity and courage shone bright. Finally, as dawn approached on a distant planet, Kai found a small, uncharted moon where they could hide. Its surface was rugged and uninhabited, perfect for temporary shelter. He guided the shuttle down carefully, the alien girl's small hands gripping his arm for reassurance. They landed with a soft thud. Dust rose around them and Kai immediately began inspecting the shuttle for damage. The alien girl hovered nearby, wings folded, watching him with trust and admiration. Kai looked at her and smiled faintly. "We made it, for now, but we can't stay here long. We need a plan." She nodded, then touched her chest and finally pointed to him. "Hope you." Kai's heart swelled. In that simple phrase was everything: trust, dependence, and perhaps something more. He realized then that their journey was not just about survival, it was about something greater. About courage, ingenuity, and the bond that could form between two beings from different worlds. That night, as they huddled in the small shuttle, Kai spoke softly. "I don't know what's ahead or what you need exactly, but I promise, I will protect you. We'll find a way." Together, the alien girl's glow pulsed gently. She reached out and held his hand, small and fragile, yet filled with warmth. And for the first time since she had fallen from the stars, she felt something she had not felt in a long time: hope. Outside, the stars continued to shine, indifferent and eternal. But inside that small shuttle, a human and an alien shared something powerful: trust, courage, and the beginnings of a bond that could defy galaxies. Kai closed his eyes briefly, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also a sense of purpose he had never known. Humans were not just survivors, they were protectors, innovators, and bearers of hope. And tonight, that truth would be tested in ways neither of them could yet imagine. The journey was far from over. Enemies still pursued them, dangers lurked at every turn, and the galaxy was vast and unforgiving. But for now, in the quiet of the uncharted moon, they rested. Together, and Kai knew, deep in his heart, that no matter what came next, they would face it as one. The uncharted moon was quiet beneath the dim light of the distant star. Its surface was jagged, covered with rocks and shallow craters, and the wind carried a faint metallic tang. Kai Norin had spent the last few hours repairing minor damage to the shuttle. Every bolt, every panel, every wire mattered. One wrong move and their fragile escape could fail. The alien girl hovered nearby, her wings faintly glowing as she watched him work. She was smaller than Kai, delicate almost, but there was a quiet strength in her presence. He had begun to understand her gestures, her subtle signs, and the meanings behind her glowing eyes. Trust had grown between them. "We can't stay here long," Kai said, breaking the silence. His voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed his concern. "They'll find us if we linger." The girl tilted her head, silver hair shimmering, and made a series of gestures he had learned to interpret. She pointed toward the horizon, then to the sky, and finally at herself. Kai understood. She could sense the pursuers. They were coming closer, faster than he had anticipated. Kai nodded grimly. "Then we leave now. Ready?" She nodded in response. Her small hand brushed against his arm for reassurance, and he felt a wave of determination. Whatever they faced, they would face it together. The shuttle lifted off the uneven ground with a low roar. Dust and small rocks swirled around them, kicked up by the engines. Kai guided the craft carefully, maneuvering through the jagged terrain. Every movement counted. A wrong turn could send them crashing into the rocky surface. As they broke through the moon's thin atmosphere and entered the blackness of space, distant lights appeared behind them. The pursuers were close. Sleek, fast ships with strange designs, unlike anything Kai had ever seen, streaked toward them. "Hold on," he muttered. "This is going to get rough." The alien girl's wings flared instinctively, glowing brighter as she hovered beside him. She pointed ahead, then at the controls, then back at him. Kai understood. She wanted him to trust her instincts. The chase began in earnest. The pursuers fired energy beams that streaked past their shuttle, carving bright trails through the darkness. Kai twisted the controls, dodging the blasts. Sparks flew from the hull as one beam grazed the edge. He gritted his teeth. "They're fast, but humans are faster in thinking." Using the shuttle's limited agility, Kai zigzagged through a nearby asteroid field. Rocks the size of small houses floated lazily in space, but to Kai, they were tools. He used them as cover, weaving between massive boulders while the pursuers struggled to match his precision. The alien girl's glow pulsed with every near miss, and she reached out, touching his arm. He felt warmth and calm spread through him. Somehow, she was guiding him, helping him sense dangers he could not see. Her instincts complemented his skill. Together, they were stronger than either alone. Hours passed like minutes. The pursuit was relentless. Each time Kai thought they might be free, another ship would appear, faster than the last. The alien girl's glow began to intensify as she tried to warn him of incoming threats. "Kai left," she shouted in broken English, pointing frantically. Kai veered sharply, dodging a swarm of energy blasts. One struck the shuttle, shaking it violently. Alarms blared. He worked quickly, repairing minor malfunctions on the fly. Sparks flew from exposed circuits, and smoke filled the cockpit. He wiped sweat from his brow, but he didn't panic. Panic was a human luxury they could not afford. The alien girl's wings glowed brighter than ever. She reached toward the controls instinctively, her hands brushing against buttons Kai had not dared touch. Lights flickered, systems whirred to life, and the shuttle responded with newfound energy. Kai stared in astonishment. You're helping me." She nodded, glowing with effort. Yes, must survive. He realized then that humans were not the only ones capable of courage, but the combination of human ingenuity and trust could overcome even impossible odds. He smiled grimly. "All right, let's see what else we can do." Kai engaged the shuttle's thrusters fully, weaving through the asteroid field with daring precision. The alien girl guided him verbally and with gestures, pointing out weak points in the pursuer's formation. One by one, he used the environment to his advantage, smashing rocks into the enemy ships, forcing them to veer off course. "Nice work," he said, keeping his focus on the controls. "We're not out yet, but we're showing them humans can think faster than machines." The alien girl's glow dimmed slightly as she caught her breath, but she smiled faintly. Kai felt pride. Even in her weakened state, she trusted him completely, and that trust gave him strength. Suddenly, a larger enemy ship appeared. It was heavily armed, far beyond the capabilities of the shuttle. Energy cannons glowed along its hull. Kai's heart raced. One hit and they would be destroyed instantly. "We have to get past it," he muttered. "No choice." The alien girl's eyes met his, glowing fiercely. She spread her wings, and for a brief moment her body emitted a bright pulse of light. The shuttle's systems responded, almost as if her energy amplified them. Kai felt a surge of power flow through the controls. "This is incredible," he whispered. You're making this possible." Together, they executed a maneuver Kai had never attempted. The shuttle dove into the shadow of a massive asteroid, then shot out at a steep angle. The enemy ship fired its cannons, but the blast struck the asteroid, shattering it into smaller pieces. Kai weaved through the debris, narrowly avoiding collisions. The alien girl laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. "Human, clever, survive." Kai smiled grimly. "And you brave more than I imagined." Hours passed as they continued their flight through space. The pursuit gradually lessened, but Kai knew it was only temporary. They could not relax. Somewhere out there, the enemy would regroup, repair, and continue hunting. Finally, they approached a small, uncharted planet. Its surface was rocky and barren, but Kai recognized its potential as a temporary refuge. "We land here," he said. "We rest. We plan our next move." The alien girl nodded, her wings folding neatly against her back. She hovered close, still glowing softly, and Kai felt a deep sense of responsibility. She had survived this long across the void of space because humans were willing to act, to think, and to care. The landing was tense. Kai guided the shuttle carefully, avoiding craters and jagged rocks. The engines roared as they touched down, kicking up dust and debris. He shut them down slowly, listening to the silence of the barren world. The alien girl stepped out, her small feet barely leaving marks on the rocky surface. She looked up at the stars, then back at Kai, and for the first time he saw something deeper in her eyes. Hope. Not just for herself, but for the bond they had formed, for the possibility of surviving together. Kai set up a temporary shelter using portable equipment from the shuttle. He repaired the shuttle further, ensuring it would be ready for the next escape if needed. The alien girl hovered nearby, assisting in small ways, pointing out weak spots in the shelter and helping with repairs. As night fell, Kai sat beside her, exhausted but alert. "We've survived today," he said softly, "but it's not over. We have to keep moving, keep thinking, or they'll catch us." The alien girl reached out and touched his arm, her small hand warm against his skin. She whispered two words, her voice melodic and calm. "Human hope." Kai's chest tightened. He realized then that she had come to depend on humans in ways he could not have imagined. Not just for survival, but for trust, for guidance, for the courage to face impossible odds. He smiled faintly. "Then we'll be your hope, together." They watched the stars in silence. Somewhere out there, their enemies were regrouping, plotting their next move. But for now, they were safe. For now, humans had proven that courage, ingenuity, and trust could overcome even the greatest danger. Kai glanced at the alien girl, her glow faint and steady, and felt a surge of determination. Whatever came next, he would face it. Together, they would survive. And in that moment, he knew something else. Humans were not just survivors. They were protectors. And as long as he lived, he would protect her. The galaxy was vast and danger was everywhere. But for the first time since she had fallen from the stars, the alien girl felt safe. And that safety, fragile as it was, gave her the strength to hope. Kai tightened his grip on her small hand, feeling warmth and trust pass between them. He whispered softly, "No matter what happens, we face it together, always." And for the first time she smiled fully, her wings shimmering faintly in the darkness. The night was far from over, but for the first time they were ready. The barren moon beneath them was silent, but the silence was deceptive. Hidden in the shadows of jagged rocks and craters, Kai Norin worked tirelessly on the shuttle. Each bolt, panel, and wire mattered. The pursuers were relentless, and he knew their enemies would find them sooner or later. Time was slipping away, and every second counted. The alien girl hovered nearby, wings folded, her glow faint but steady. She watched him carefully, her small hands brushing against controls she didn't fully understand but instinctively guided him to. Together, they had survived impossible odds before. But this time, Kai knew the danger was greater than anything they had faced. "We have to get this ship ready," Kai said, his voice calm but firm. "If we can't leave quickly, they'll catch us, and if they catch us, I don't want to think about it." She looked at him, eyes wide and shining. She placed her hand on his arm, her glow intensifying. "Kai must survive together," Kai nodded. Her words, though simple, carried meaning beyond language. She trusted him completely, and that trust pushed him to move faster, think smarter, and ignore exhaustion. He began repairing the shuttle's engines, patching damaged circuits and reinforcing the hull. Sparks flew, smoke rose, and his hands were cut and burned in places, but he did not stop. He had never been one to give up, but now, someone else's life depended on his determination. Someone fragile, yet incredibly strong in her own way, had fallen from the stars and trusted him with everything. Hours passed. The alien girl hovered closer, occasionally touching the panels, her glow pulsing as she guided him to damaged components he might have overlooked. Her presence calmed him in a way he could not explain. She seemed to know exactly what he needed to do, almost instinctively. Then came the warning. A faint tremor shook the ground beneath them. Dust and small rocks rattled across the barren moon. Kai's heart tightened. They had been detected, the enemy was close. "Stay here," he said urgently. "I'll finish the repairs, you need to be ready to move." She shook her head, glowing brighter. "No, together, can't leave without," Kai understood. She would not abandon him, no matter the danger. That same instinct had kept her alive across galaxies. He nodded, grateful and concerned at the same time. "All right, then we do this together." The minutes that followed were a blur of activity. Kai tightened panels, replaced broken circuits, and rerouted power through auxiliary systems. The alien girl guided him with her glowing hands, pointing to weak spots and indicating priorities. At one point, she extended her wings slightly, and a pulse of light flowed from her body into the shuttle's systems, reinforcing the engines in a way Kai could not have imagined. "You're amazing," he whispered, awestruck. "I don't know how you do it, but it's working." Her glow pulsed softly in response, almost as if she understood his admiration. For the first time, Kai realized the truth. Their survival depended not just on human skill, but on cooperation. Humans were clever, resilient, and brave, but together with someone like her, they were unstoppable. Then, from the distance, a faint hum grew louder. Kai's heart raced. The pursuers were closing in faster than he anticipated. He glanced at the alien girl. She hovered close, wings fully extended, eyes shining with determination. "They're coming," he shouted. We have to be ready. The enemy ships appeared over the horizon, sleek, dark, and heavily armed. Their energy cannons glowed ominously as they advanced, scanning for life signs. Kai tightened his jaw. He had faced dangers before, but never like this. He would have to rely on every ounce of ingenuity, courage, and skill he had. The alien girl reached out, touching the shuttle's hull. Her glow intensified, and for a brief moment the entire ship shimmered with energy. Kai realized she was amplifying the systems, making the shuttle faster, more resilient, almost alive. "Thank you," he muttered. I couldn't do this without you." Her eyes met his and she whispered, "Kai must survive together, only you." Kai's chest tightened. He had heard those words before, but now they carried even more weight. This was no longer just about survival. It was about trust, hope, and a bond stronger than any obstacle. The enemy ships fired their first volley. Bright energy beams tore across the barren moon, kicking up dust and rock. Kai twisted the shuttle, dodging the blasts with precision born of desperation and experience. Sparks flew as a few beams grazed the hull, but the alien girl's energy pulses reinforced the damaged sections. "This is insane," Kai muttered. "But it's working." He lured the enemy into a narrow canyon, using the rocky terrain to block some of their fire. One by one, the pursuing ships crashed into rocks or collided with each other in their blind pursuit. Kai's eyes burned with focus. He was human. He could think faster, adapt better, and improvise in ways these machines, or even these aliens, could not. The alien girl hovered beside him, guiding his maneuvers, warning him of dangers he could not detect. Her wings flared in bursts of light, reinforcing the shuttle's shields at critical moments. Kai realized something profound. Humans were resilient, yes, but humans who worked with others, who trusted and were trusted, were unstoppable. Hours passed in a tense blur. They moved through asteroid fields, dodged energy blasts, and even used debris to shield themselves. The alien girl's guidance saved them countless times, and Kai marveled at her courage. She was small, delicate, and yet braver than many he had known. Finally, they emerged from the worst of the chase, entering a region of space filled with floating ice and metal debris. Kai spotted a derelict ship, half buried among the wreckage. "We can hide there," he said. "It's risky, but it's our best chance." The alien girl nodded, glowing softly. Together, they guided the shuttle toward the wreck. Using her instincts, she pointed out weak points and safe paths through the debris. Kai followed her guidance precisely. The shuttle slipped inside the derelict ship, concealed from the pursuing enemy. For the first time in hours, Kai allowed himself a breath. "We made it for now." The alien girl hovered nearby, her glow dimming slightly as she rested. She looked at Kai, eyes shining with admiration and something deeper, gratitude, trust, perhaps even a form of love. Kai smiled faintly. "You did amazing back there. I couldn't have done it without you." Her small hand brushed against his arm, sending a warmth through him he had never felt before. Kai hope, human strong. He realized then that humans were not just survivors or fighters. They were protectors, innovators, and beacons of hope. And with the alien girl by his side, their combined courage and skill had overcome impossible odds. But the relief was short-lived. Kai knew the enemy would not give up. They were patient, relentless, and far more advanced. The real test was yet to come. Kai began inspecting the derelict ship, making it functional enough to serve as temporary shelter and a base for repairs. The alien girl assisted, pointing out weak points, suggesting modifications, and even using her abilities to strengthen the ship systems. Together, they worked silently, efficiently, and in perfect harmony. As night fell, Kai sat beside the alien girl. "We've survived this far," he said softly. "But tomorrow will be harder, they won't stop, and we'll have to be smarter, faster, braver." She reached out and touched his arm, glowing softly. "Kai, together, survive always." Kai nodded, his chest tightening with emotion. He realized something profound. Humans were not just capable of courage, they were capable of selfless sacrifice. He had risked his life countless times before, but never for someone so fragile, so dependent on him. Now every choice, every action carried weight beyond his own survival. He glanced at the alien girl, small and glowing, wings folded yet ready. She had fallen from the stars, survived impossible odds, and trusted him completely. And he would not betray that trust. Not now, not ever. Kai knew then that their bond was more than survival. It was hope. It was courage. It was love, not just the romantic kind, but the kind that inspires, protects, and drives humans to achieve what others deem impossible. The night passed quietly, but tension remained. Every shadow, every distant light could signal danger, but Kai felt ready. He was human. He was clever, courageous, and resourceful. And now he had the alien girl by his side, amplifying every strength he had. As he rested briefly, he whispered to her, "No matter what comes next, we face it together, always." Her glow pulsed in response. "Together, always hope you." Kai smiled faintly, feeling a deep surge of determination. The galaxy was vast, dangers were endless, but humans could overcome anything. And together, they would face the storm and survive. The stars outside the derelict ship shone cold and distant, indifferent to their struggle. But inside, human ingenuity, courage, and trust burned brightly. And Kai knew one thing for certain. As long as he lived, he would protect her, no matter the cost.